Apology for bad London. Where were you when Herongenrla's day? I was at house eating Dorito when phone rang. Herongenrla is killed. No. Whoa, that was a sad intro. Okay, so I'm picking the honest and direct dialogue, since I don't think there's an easy way to say this anyway. Herongenrla's 1 will be sunsetted in around 6 months, and there's a Kickstarter attempting to raise money for the development of Herongenrla's 2 in Unreal Engine. Also, Unreal was the timing of my video talking about how the game was the past 6 months, and now we're talking about how the game will close in another 6. I could literally title this video the same. So, it turns out that because Herongenrla's had an old outdated Flash engine and because it wasn't making any profit for years, it was supposed to close down a year ago until TLM stepped in. The final update for the game will be released in the 7th of February. It will be removing the ice and making all the battle pass seasons available for purchase, okay? And from that day forwards, all of the developers will begin working on Herongenrla's 2 and begin training on Unreal Engine. However, if the Kickstarter that will launch on the 13th of February and finish 2 months later doesn't reach the goal of raising $3 million, Herongenrla's 2 will never be a thing and the Herongenrla's IP will die right then and there. Now, I'm sitting here and I have no idea how to write this script or what questions should I answer first, so I will just refer to the questions you guys made in my community post from top voted to bottom. I was also involved in a private Q&A where the content creators, backhanders and moderators for the game asked questions to the community manager of the game, so I can answer most of them with a little bit more detail. But I don't want to be a No Man's Sky game generalist here, where I confirm things right away.
Can you customize the look of your character?
Sort of.
Full customization confirmed in No Man's Sky.
Will the game keep its goofiness, funny gimmicks like the long boy, the space program, the bicycle? What about voice chat? They said that they plan to have graphics that are not too realistic like Hell Let Loose and not too cartoony like Fortnite. It will be something in the middle and close to what the current game looks like, I guess with a little bit less clipping. Bicycles are 100% confirmed, the whistle is 90% confirmed. Now long boy and space program, of course these were bugs, so I doubt they will deliberately make the game buggy, but knowing them, new funny bugs may be born. I just hope that we see a nod to them in the form of an Easter egg or let's say an emote that allows you to raise your range up in the sky. It's also too early to know about goofy ragdolls, but we know some things about the communication. They plan to have voice commands asking for things like healing, reinforcements and stuff, maybe voice chat, but from what I understand they want to communicate as much information as possible through visuals in the HUD and not depend that much on text and voice. Emotes were also not confirmed. What will happen to our items or gold? Will we get a refund? A veteran helmet. Hey, first time? Sadly boys, all of our items, gold and progression will go away. It was going to happen no matter what, maybe even a year ago if TLM didn't step in. And we will lose them even if Herongenrla's 2 actually reach the Kickstarter goal. I guess we should have picked up on that when they updated the new terms of service a month or so ago. Now, the reason for that is that the new game will have completely new accounts, a new progression system, no more individual soldier grind, a different RTS system and such. I will talk about those things in more detail later. They said that if they did let us keep our progression, then it will be killing the game, because half the people would already own everything on the release day of Herongenrla's 2, so nobody will be buying anything on the new game, so no revenue. Also they say that even if they did want to let us keep our stuff, one of the biggest barriers is that they will have to go through so much data and transactions to determine who owned what, that it will be very time and resource consuming. So for the same reason it's unlikely that the veterans will be getting any unique items like helmets. Personally, I hope that they can at least give us some kind of email now with a voucher code in it for a helmet that we will be able to claim when and if Herongenrla's 2 comes out. Now, as I said, this isn't the first time my favorite free-to-play game goes offline, so here is how EA handled things when they closed their free-to-play game Battlefield Heroes. I had around 2000 hours on that game and I had spent over 700 euros in it by stealing my parents' money, and all I got in return was a thank you for playing and here is a discount code to get a Battlefield Hardline 50% off or something like that. Okay, I just found the email. I think the code expired, but I will be hiding it anyways. Now, one more thing the developers of that game did was to release a voucher code every week with in-game currency to spend on the game for free, and I'm not gonna lie, that was poggers. That's something I hope to see the 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐯 developers do when they talk about a special event and not just a goodbye livestream. The moral of the story is whenever you buy something in a free-to-play game, go with the mindset that you are ending it for 6 months, bro. It was that traumatic experience that made me to never want to put money on a free-to-play game ever again. Why shut down the original game? They said that the past 2 years the game was losing money, the battle pass helped, but TLM still had to pay extra to keep the servers running. Honestly, I don't have any access to the background of their financials to confirm this, and I find it surprising, but damn, all I know about server upkeep is that you had to pay 25 euros to rent a Minecraft server for 12 people back in 2014. The community manager shared some backstory with us on what was going on behind the stage when Rito was still in charge. In summary, what I got from it, between 2014 and 2018, the management didn't give a shit about community feedback, which resulted in the release of bad updates that made the game bad, so many players left and the revenue was lost. In 2019, many developers were let go and the game went into survival mode, and because of that we were getting small updates. Because they didn't have the money or manpower for something big or any advertisement, they lost even more players because of that, which meant even less money being made. And finally, the game engine was outdated and horrible, and I don't think we can argue with that. So the game is and was going to shut down no matter what. How many cents are they going to make from Kickstarter? From what I got, TLM or the developers are also not that confident that the goal will be reached. Personally, I get a feeling that the price tag is mostly a statement and a test to see how many people would be interested in 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐯 2. They said that with most Kickstarters, it doesn't really matter how long they stay open, they get most of all the pledges in the first and last week, and maybe a few spikes in the middle if a big YouTuber talks about them. So generally having more days in between doesn't translate to a lot more money. They don't plan to do any advertisements or ad campaigns for the Kickstarter. They will just send an email to current players, make a Gleam campaign and reach out to some big YouTubers in the hopes that they will talk about it. Personally, as a YouTuber, I wouldn't be talking about a game that isn't even in beta yet, but you know, lots of YouTubers get desperate when running out of ideas or topics to talk about, and having the chance to be the first one to put the name of an upcoming game in the title of a video is always appetizing. And even though the game might not be in beta yet and not have any stock footage to show for it, the concept is still there in 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐯 1. Yes, there is a demo out there, but from what they said, that is mostly a marketing tool and a training tool for the developers to see what they can do, what things they can port on the new engine and stuff, and what is shown in it is nowhere near what the final game will be like. Now, I couldn't get any details on why the price was set that high. I hope that they have a list of breaking down how the budget will be spent when the Kickstarter rolls out on the 13th of February, because I feel like right now 2.5 million of the budget will be spent on advertising or sponsoring future YouTubers and stuff when the game comes out, and come on, if you clicked this or this button you already know how much you have to pay for just 100 views. Anyways, they are not hiring anyone yet, they are waiting for the Kickstarter results, and in the meantime the developers are training on the new engine. If they don't reach the goal, as I said, the IP is dead right then and there, and the developers will work on other TLM games. Anyways, now let's talk about what we know about the game. The game will be free to play, they will be making their money through cosmetic items that you will only be able to buy with real money, but none of them will be weapons and stuff that will affect the gameplay or balance. Some camos might be overpowered, since camouflage always prove to be useful. I just hope that the ones locked behind the paywall will be too bright or goofy to do that, just like the cosmetics we've been getting in the 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐯 1 battle passes. And don't forget, the best camouflage was always to stand still in a bush, no matter what you were. The game will be allies versus Axis, no more Americans fighting Soviets and such. The game will start with United States versus Germany, then the first sub-faction for allies will be Soviets, and then another sub-faction which we don't know who will be yet. In 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐯 1, the idea for having 3 factions fighting each other was that the 2 losing ones would gang up on the winning one, but all you know how that turned out. Of course, the main selling point of the game, which is the combined FPS and RTS games, will be there, similar to what it is now. There won't be any RTS arenas, as some of you worried about. Everyone will be fighting at the same one war at the same time. There will likely not be a general class, the assault teams will be owned by your account, a supply and resources system will be on the RTS. The assault teams will be deployed instantly but without any supplies on them, and you will have to move them around to collect the resources created by factories around Europe and such. Most maps will be dynamic, meaning that depending on where exactly you are fighting in the war map, the map will be a little different. Different objective, different buildings, and some locations, for example Berlin, will have their own dedicated map. A mobile app is very likely, but this time it won't be free to download. Herongenrla 2 will have a battle pass too. There may be perks, definitely not the heavy set as it brought many balancing issues. A clan system is 100% confirmed and it will likely be there from day one of release, not including the beta of course. And they want to include clan battles too with spectator tools and everything, but they don't want to allow an entire clan to gang up on random players in matchmaking. No plans for female characters, LGTB characters, okay. There will be multiple game modes and they will somehow connect and affect the RTS part of the game. We will already show a concept for a bomb defusal mode on the demo, but nothing is set on concrete yet. The spawn system will be pretty much the same as Operation Doorstop. Both teams won't be able to spawn in the objective between them, instead they will be able to spawn inside the previous objectives that they already own. A1 or A0 now won't be able to be captured and they will likely even have some AI bots defending it. Most likely there will be destructible environment, but not total evolution. It's not as likely that we will get construction, building barricades and bunkers and sandbags and stuff. There will be 1943-1944 World War II technology, but they don't have any plans for prototypes like mouse or jets, night vision and stuff yet. The art style won't be ultra realistic but not too cartoony either. The vehicle mechanics and physics are yet not known. The battles will be at least 20 versus 20 players. Confire will be a thing in Herongenrla 2 because they still believe it's a good countermeasure to macros. No war bonds this time because there are real life legal issues with that. Only banks are allowed to give interest or something like that. Things like suppression, artillery, mortars could be a thing but it's too early to tell. Longboy, anti-tank rifles and muskets will likely not make an appearance since they were too hard to balance. There is a plan to recreate the town map or at least get inspired from it, extend it a bit, and they are open to recreating maps from Herongenrla 1. Dynamic weather is a possibility. They wanted to have that thing in Herongenrla 1, but rain for example killed your FPS and went through roofs and stuff. I don't know how they got snow to work though. Finally, if the Kickstarter goal is reached, the game will be coming out in the second quarter of 2024. So basically the answer to every question was always that it can be done thanks to the new engine, but it has to make sense to be implemented. Will the community be able to revive the game? Sadly the answer we got is no guys. It seems like there will be licensing issues with that and it requires a lot of coding in their part to make that possible. But let's be honest, even if some passionate players managed to do that and founded it from their own pockets, it will be the same. I've seen it happen twice with Battlefield Heroes and the result was the first one getting sued by EA because of copyright reasons and because the Revive network dared to ask for donations to keep the servers running. And the second Revive project simply has a player base of 40 people or something like that, and I'm personally worried that lots of the decisions being made will be biased or made by the loud minority. Having a company behind the title sometimes is better because of that. Finally, is this an exit scam? Now, my suspicious brain also asked that. Combine that with license video talking about how many millions of debt they had and you see a red flag. But we don't know what happened after TLM took over and his video and share. Did they pay for the debt after they took over? Who knows? Now look, I'm not a smart person. If you've seen my live streams, when I talk without a script, I say XD every 5 seconds. But from what I understand, this isn't a scam. First of all, Kickstarter won't charge your credit card if the goal is not reached. TLM is not dependent on Herongenrla, they have many titles under their name. And yes, even though they did spend money keeping the game alive for another year and working on the Kickstarter, I think that this is just a risk that the company could afford to take. And hell, if they manage to get 3 million raised, then why not do it? 3 million will prove that there is a huge audience out there wanting it and is ready to have their juicy wallets milked. So why risk getting sued? But yeah, I think it's better to be talking about trust here. When it comes to developers, the ones that remained after the letters of 2019 proved to me, at least personally, that they have learned from their mistakes, and they showed that through their updates, that they knew what was the right path to fix the game. And I always pointed at that out in my update videos. But of course, I also pointed out that they were always released very slow, they weren't noticeable, they were small and not properly tested. However, after the background stories I heard in the license video, it makes sense why they couldn't make something bigger to fix the game. It was already too late. Anyways, I don't know, I just feel like they can do a good job with Herongenrla 2, and I hope I'm not being just blinded by hope here. And finally, the most important questions. Will you add 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐯 skin in the final month of the game?
We also need anime skins for vehicles on
Yes.
store.
No comment.
You can make it a Kickstarter level.
Will you remove Herobrine? What the hell is Herobrine?
That's Minecraft.
Capture the bicycle.
Will my father's laptop be able to run the game? Or are we going to be getting 40 FPS?
Hades' gaming career on Twitch. Probably not.
Now, a lot of you also asked how do I feel or what do I think about all of this. First of all, thank you, I appreciate your concern, but I think most of the people who clicked on this video don't care about me or the channel. They are here to hear about their beloved game, so making the video 5 minutes longer talking about me or the channel will kill each retention spam. So I will be answering these questions in a live stream or another video. All I can say is that the channel will keep going, making videos was my hobby since I was 12. Finally, I want to close saying that I will be pledging all the ad revenue this channel will be making from this day until the second to last day the Kickstarter ends into it. So basically $20. Now, just because I am doing it doesn't mean you have to pledge. Just come up with your own conclusions depending on your experience. My experiences were positive, but yours might not have been. If you want to pledge, I will leave a link in the description. Now, all memes aside, Herongenrla was and will always be to me the only game I ever gave a fuck about the outcome of a battle. The only one where it combined a strategy and a first-person shooter, the game where every single thing I did, every single tank I destroyed, every single resource I deployed felt like a butterfly's flop in the Amazon. For those who don't know what that means, have you ever seen the meme where if you go back in time and move a rock, the entire timeline will change? Yeah, pretty much every kill I got in this game felt like that. It's the game that had everything available to be bought with in-game currency, even having a premium account, the game where they didn't punish me for losing a battle by stealing half the XP I grinded in it, just so I cared, the game where I could play casually and have fun with my friends and audience if I wanted to, and then turn those moments into funny videos for more people to enjoy. And finally, the game where I made lots of these friends and memories. I hope to see that happening again in Herongenrla 2, and I hope the developers will take note of those things. That's all. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you as soon as I can. Ciao, ciao. Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can save your loved one?
Herongenrla is killing!